It's a small piece of heaven created in a time of need to help women victims of domestic violence without inflicting a new trauma due to isolation in days of the pandemic.
The reason for this center was that we couldn't take these women and their children to a regular shelter because of the dangers of infection for coronavirus. So W.I.Z.O approached the welfare ministry and proposed to them to open a center, an emergency center, so women can spend here 2 weeks and we can make sure that they don't have the coronavirus, and then we refer them to other shelters.
This solution is necessary. Coronavirus confinement in Israel, as elsewhere in the world, has aggravated domestic violence. Since Israelis were asked to stay home, emergency calls spiked by 500%.
They had solutions in place for 1 or 2 women, but as you can imagine, we only have 14 shelters in Israel for abused women. There's not enough space for all the needs.
Among the women welcomed here, only one agreed to testify anonymously. For her, confinement caused the deterioration of her situation.
I think since we're in the corona situation now, one of the big things that I learned was I was suddenly home with my children all day, and I saw I could do it. I saw I could manage on my own. My husband was at work a lot, and I was in the house, which is not an easy situation with children.
Here, these women can breathe and finally speak freely about the abuse that they have suffered.
In the midst of it, you think you're the only one who's living like this. And on the one hand, it breaks your heart because if only you were the only one and no one else was suffering at the same time, it also makes it real. It makes it that it wasn't just something you imagined. Other people went through the same thing.
Overall, the centre can accommodate 12 women and their children. The young ones enjoy the outdoors and the older ones can continue their studies thanks to the volunteers. Together they form a small community which transcends religious, political and cultural divisions.
But these issues, they happen everywhere. It doesn't matter what religious background you're from. It doesn't matter which faith. It doesn't matter if you come from a wealthy background or not. We're all in this together, and this happens.
W.I.Z.O hopes today that the government will learn from this health crisis, in particular to open even more centres like these.